Hi guys, in front of me you can see a basic painted tabletop ready miniature that is included in the brand new Army Painter Warpaints Fanatic starter set. So in this video I'm going to go over how to paint it just like so. It's going to be very easy to follow. It's aimed at the absolute beginner to the hobby, so there's going to be no advanced techniques, there's going to be no mixing of colors. It's just a case of applying the base colors, and then we're going to apply a wash, and then we're going to be done. So if you're new to the hobby, I highly recommend this starter set and watching this video, and you should be able to get the miniature to look exactly the same as this in about 10 to 15 minutes. Okay guys, so let's crack on with the tutorial. Hi guys, we're going to be painting the miniature that comes free with the new Army Painter Fanatic starter set. So first of all, what we're going to do is prime the miniature using the Warpaints Fanatic brush on primer. So I'm just going to start placing that on the palette, give it a shake and place some on the palette like so. And then we're going to start placing it onto the miniature. Most important thing is, once placing it on the miniature, is that we're going to make sure that we don't apply it too thick. We don't want to obscure any of those beautiful details that are on the actual miniature there. So we'll do that. It doesn't have to take long to do this, guys, you know. 5 minutes or so should prime this miniature. What I'm going to do is save time on camera, because it's going to be quite boring watching me paint the whole miniature grey on camera, but I'm just going to finish it off camera, so we'll come back once it's all primed. Okay guys, so we're back and the primer has dried, as you can see. We applied the primer thin like I mentioned a moment ago, just so we don't lose any of those beautiful details on the miniature. Now what we're going to do is we're going to come in and start applying some of the base coats, and we're going to probably start off with the pure red colour on his overalls and some of the little key areas that we'll paint in red. So we'll go and do that now. So I've just placed a little pure red onto the palette, as you can see, and as with all the War Game Fanatic paints, you'll notice that the quality of the paint is absolutely awesome and the pigmentation is super high. So as soon as we start painting on the miniature, like so, you'll see that we're going to get pretty much one coat coverage. Don't worry if you go over any areas that we're not meant to, like some of these pouches that you see on the back that we're painting in a leather colour, or the strap there. We can always touch that back up with the leather colour. So take your time. Top tip, if you've got your brush, roll the bristles of the brush into a sharp point, like so. And as we're painting on the miniature, you'll be able to get more steady control. Okay, so we're going to paint like so. But as I say, if we go over this here that we're going to paint brown in a leather brown colour a little later on, it's not a problem. We can cover over it. So go all around the miniature. You can thin this paint down as well with just regular water. I'm doing this tutorial from the basis that you're painting a miniature for the very first time, and this is your very first starter set. And as you can see, even with water, you still get great coverage, but you might need to apply 2 coats. So you apply the first coat, wait for it to dry, and then apply another coat. I always recommend painting thinner in layers as opposed to one thick layer, but this paint is a really nice consistency, so even if you paint in just one layer, as long as you're careful and you don't apply the paint thick, you'll still get a nice end result, even if you paint in just one layer straight from the bottle. But if you want to thin the paint down and take your time, that's probably going to give you an even better result. Okay, so I'm going to finish off painting all the red areas on our little warrior, as I'm going to call him, and then we'll be back. And here you can see what the miniature looks like once we've applied all the pure red to those to the clothing. What we're going to do now is we're just going to pick out some areas in leather brown, and then we'll paint the metallics, and then we'll probably wash the whole miniature, pick out a few highlights, and we'll be done. This is not going to contain any complicated techniques. It's just going to be to show you how easy it is to paint your first miniature, and then obviously as you get more confident you can try more techniques. But yeah, so on to the leather brown. Okay, placing the leather brown onto the palette like so. Again, goes onto the palette absolutely perfect. And now, remember what I said about rolling the bristles of the brush. I get a bit messy sometimes, guys, and I use my thumb. You don't have to do that. That's entirely up to you. But I do. And it's just to get a sharp point on the bristles of the brush. And if I can get this into camera, I'll show you that we're just going to paint that strap like so. It goes up there a bit and it goes down there. Just put a little bit more paint on the brush. And we're going to paint, I think it's called a scabbard for the actual sword there. We're going to paint that. And we'll probably paint some parts of the sword scabbard gold as well in a bit. We got any other areas that could be brown? Oh, I don't think so. I think we've just got to touch up that there, like so. Or maybe we'll do the boots brown as well. Why not? I was going to go black, but now I've decided to go brown. And just like so, nice and easy. As I say, these paints are really easy to work with, guys. The paint covers so well and is so smooth. There we go. Okay, so now we're going to paint some of the metallic areas using plate mail metal from the starter set. So just place a little on the palette like so. Pop the paint back. Okay. And we're going to paint the shoulder armor. Like so. Just going to place a little water on the palette and just thin it just ever so slightly. Again, don't worry if you get any of the paint over any of the areas that we haven't painted, but try and be mindful of the red areas that we've painted. But as I say, if you do go over the red areas, it's not all lost. You can just come back in with the pure red and touch up the areas that you made a mistake on. And we'll call them happy accidents. And we're going to paint the shield as well. I'm being pretty quick here, guys, just painting away like so. Paint little decorative details on the scabbard. I haven't picked a very good brush for this video, guys. It's quite old and splayed, but you do get a brush with the starter set which should be in better condition than the brush that I've got now. But anyway, painting all the metallic areas like so, and I'll be back once that's all done. Now we're going to use some greedy gold just to paint a few little details on the shield and on the haft or the handle of the sword. So we're just going to paint like so. Again, trying to be careful not to get too much on the actual blade of the sword where we want the silver to stay. We're going to paint the gold on these little shapes on the shield, just to add a little decorative touch. Again, don't have to take long, guys. And maybe a little bit of gold there. Maybe instead of having silver there, we're going to go gold, I think. Again, anytime you make a mistake, just touch it with the previous colour. And we're going to come in with a wash in a moment, and we're going to wash the whole miniature. I'm just going to paint this plume blue first though, I think. Okay, so just placed a little ultramarine blue onto the palette, and we're just going to paint a little plume on the top of the helmet there, and that'll take seconds really. Okay, and we're going to come back and we're going to wash the miniature in a moment, and what that's going to do is it's going to create a deep shading throughout the miniature, make it look more 3D, make the colours pop and bring everything all together. So we're going to do that in a moment. Okay, so just placing some of that strong tone wash onto that base there. And I'm just going to add just a tiny drop of water there, just to thin it a little. You don't have to. It's just that we can control the effect better of the wash. And as you can see on the palette, it looks completely different to the other acrylic paints, as this is more like an ink in a way. And what we're going to do now is place the whole strong tone across the whole miniature. And as you can see instantly on that shield there, it's bringing out the details. It's creating shading amongst all of that red. It's important to note, guys, that you don't want to let the paint pull too much. What I mean by that is you don't want to let big areas of the wash to go on the miniature and dry, as that could leave an uneven effect, possibly make the paint go a little glossy. So we just want to control it. You're better off giving it an all over wash like so, controlling where it pulls, and then giving it one more wash to make the shading even deeper rather than doing it in one really heavy wash, which wouldn't give the best results. So I'm going to dry that off. We'll give it one more wash and we'll see where we are. Okay, so we've given the warrior an all over wash. What I'm going to do is give him one more wash. I'll do that off camera, but it'll be exactly the same as what I just did, just going over the whole miniature with that strong tone, and we'll come back and see what it looks like after the second coat has been applied. As you can see, I've put a pure black edge around the base just to tidy it up, and that is the miniature finish. Obviously we could come in and add some yellow to the pure red, some of the demonic yellow, and create like an orange colouring and add highlights. We could go around the edges of all the metallics with the silver and just make those pop a bit more. But to get it on the tabletop, that's all we need to do for this miniature to get it to look just like so. We did that in 10 to 15 minutes, super simple, really easy to do with these warpaints Fanatics from the Army Painter. I hope you like this very basic but very beginner orientated tutorial. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch this video, and we'll catch you in the next one.